Hey everyone, it's Keith Hayden, and welcome to the second video of how to edit an audio drama. It's funny when you're making these types of things, there's always technical challenges, but I just realized I made an entire video. I spent the last 35 to 40 minutes on it, recording part of my editing process, and there was no sound for the audio portion, like, when I was editing. So that video is now bullshit, and I'm gonna have to re-record this video. So what you're gonna see me do is jump right into where I was at, and I'm going to go over, like I already did, but I'm gonna do it again for you this time, the the keyboard shortcuts for Descript, because those are pretty important, and I'm just gonna go through them very quickly. If you like this video and you like my content in this series, then consider subscribing to this YouTube channel for more creative training. And you can find more about me and my work at keithhayden.net. That's going to be in the description below. Okay. So let's get started. And this time I'm actually going to share my sound. What a pain in the ass, but that's just the way it is. Okay. So I'm just going to share my entire screen and let's take a look at Descript. So let me put these commands on here again, but these are the key commands that I'm going to be using. Really, there's only three of the things that I manipulate all the time to help me move around Descript without using as many mouse clicks and moving it around. So first one's going to be the Alt L combination. You can see I'm on playback speed. This is your playback speed here. So you can see me Alt L incrementally moving it up, and then Alt J incrementally moving it down by 0.1. I can also speed increment, just hold it. And you can see it go down or go up, and then I can just hold it, go all the way down to 0.5. Alt K resets it back to 1 time speed. So you see there's no indicator there if it hasn't been manipulated. That's the first one. Next thing is zooming. So control minus to zoom out. You can see me zooming out. Control plus to zoom in. Pretty basic stuff. Very helpful though to make sure you've got the full picture, because Descript does this weird thing to where it advances the waveform as you're moving, but then you'll see as I'm actually working on this that it's going to cut at certain it'll stop at certain places to where I need to add cuts or manipulate things, and I won't be able to see the whole way from. So that's when you're going to want to zoom out. Another good shortcut is Alt close brackets. It's going to move you back in time 5 seconds. You can see me moving back. And then Alt close brackets or Alt right bracket, whatever you want to call it, to move forward 5 seconds. So I'll just go back to where I was. And another thing I just discovered as I was recording the last video that is now garbage is when I want to recenter. So let's say I stop here and I'm wanting to add time here, but it's too close to the edge of the screen. So I'll press Alt back and then Alt forward, and it should recenter me. But if it doesn't, then I can just use Control to zoom out. This is another thing that Descript does is kind of crazy for. You see, it's not centered, so it's zooming out on what I'm seeing right now. It's not zooming out over the track head. So this is when you may want to like purposely manipulate it to get it back where you want it to where you can see everything. I highly recommend you do not use this. This is the zoom here. It's just so inaccurate, and it doesn't zoom like incrementally enough. So you end up like with this crazy, you either zoomed out too far or you're zoomed in too close, and it doesn't work very well. And same with this. This advances it too fast, so it's easy to get lost on where you're editing. And I try not to use it unless I'm like, okay, I really need to advance quickly to like one end of the track to another end. I typically don't use this because it's kind of bullshit because you just can't accurately move around. All right. So those are the three main ones that I use. There are a bunch of others that you can use, but I don't use them that much. These are the ones that help you navigate like more efficiently as you're editing. Speaking of editing, let's do some editing. And hopefully the sound records this time. Man, what a pain. All right, let's go. I'm going to press Shift Tab to play.
Stand it.
And I'm going to be doing it at 2 times speed because 3 times speed is a little too fast and it's easier to miss stuff. And then I'll have to go back, and then that kind of defeats the purpose of going at 3 times speed. So 2 times speed is that just right, that sweet spot to where I can still hear what's going on. I can still hear kind of the spacing, and I can hear like sounds and stuff, but I don't get lost with the edits. All right, let me confirm that everything's good to go. Okay. I'll try not to do that because it's so confusing when it happens. All right, let's continue.
The thoughts of spending what potentially could have been the best years of her life waiting on those in charge to recognize her work and talent had caused her daily cognitive dissonance and promote.
Okay, so that was a good section. Okay, this is another thing to note about Descript. You see this pause right here. That means it's about 3.8 seconds of a pause, like no audio that it could detect, no speaking. So if I delete this part, it's going to delete that interval of pause as well. So that can be kind of a good thing to save you some time. And now I'm in the middle of this waveform, and what sucks about that is when you make a cut like that, you see they've jammed these two waveforms together now, and I don't want that because this is like mid-sentence, so it's not going to be that long of an interval. So I'm going to have to go back in and add some time to these cuts, and I'll grab this and push out a little bit. But since this was kind of mid-sentence, it's going to be kind of tough. But okay, I think that might work. I'm going to check by that it's not complete crap by pressing Alt K and going to regular speed so I can hear what it sounds like.
Had caused her daily cognitive
Okay, that's perfect.
dissonance. Had caused her daily cognitive dissonance.
Got a little bit of a hiccup there.
Her daily caused her daily cognitive.
Okay, that's that second her. I don't want that, so I'm going to get rid of that.
Had caused her daily cognitive dissonance and prompted her to make an early exit.
Okay, that's perfect. I'm going to ramp the speed back up once I get rid of this very long gap of no. What is this sound? Oh, God. I'm sorry. If you want to switch to another YouTube video, go right ahead. At this point, that was horrible. Okay, so the place we used to live, I used to have really bad allergies, and yeah, that. Oh God, that was terrible. I apologize. There's nothing more I can say. Oh, okay, it's gone. Don't worry, it's gone. The bad man's gone. The bad sound is eliminated. Okay, let's continue.
Early exit.
Let me ramp the speed back up.
Exit. The apartment was silent, save for assorted noises that seemed to be amplified in her keyed up state.
Okay, so as I explained in the last video that I now have to throw out, I like to kind of eyeball the intervals because as I explained in the first video, I think when I recorded this, I was deliberately trying to go slow. So that introduced a lot of large gaps in between sentences. We don't want that in the final recording. So what I typically do is eyeball maybe like half of this interval between here, and I'll delete it. And I know that's going to get me to about 1 second. I want about 1 second in between, and that's perfect. A perfect cut. Okay. So that's going to do that. And if it's longer, if it's like 3 seconds or something, or 4 seconds, I'll go 2/3. It's just kind of an eyeball thing to prevent me from having to look at the actual, okay, what highlight it, take the time to highlight it and look at the number. Okay, how many seconds is it? And doing this type of work, this is a tedious enough task. I don't want to add more stuff to it. Okay, I'm gonna keep going.
Upstate. A thump from a thump.
Okay, that's a mistake.
A thump.
Okay, there's some type of clicking sound and I don't like that out.
A thump.
Oh man, I don't like that. Kill that.
A thump.
Oh man, I hear the sound. This sound I don't like. Get rid of it.
A
Okay, so in this case, it's it's kind of hard to get rid of. So it sounds like this, and you'll see once we get to the third phase how I get rid of sounds like this, because this is kind of something that is very small, but it's definitely perceptible. But Descript isn't very equipped to handle this type of noise reduction. So I'm going to use some very powerful plugins in Ableton Live to get rid of this garbage. Okay. But for right now, we just have to deal with it. It's frustrating to have it there, but that's okay. It's going to be gone eventually. Okay, let's keep going.
thump.
Speed.
A thump from the neighbor.
Make sure that interval's fine.
Upstate. A thump from the neighbor 1 floor above caused her to whip her neck to the bland whiteness of the ceiling. Her body. Her body tensed at the crack of a wall, or the abrupt blaring of a car alarm on the street below.
You can see I'm making these cuts a lot faster now. I'm just looking at the half and then moving on. And that's what you have to do. That's when you know you're starting to get in the rhythm of, and I'm checking this to check the time. I'm sorry about that. We've got about, okay, I can go maybe 15 more minutes. I'm trying to keep these under half an hour for your sake and mine, right? All right, let's keep
The
going.
abrupt blaring of a car alarm on the street below. For her, it wasn't so much the waiting that bothered her, but the period of inactivity that usually accompanied it.
Okay.
Noah was a woman of action, and any stagnation or slowing of the events around her contradicted her being and made her panic.
And got some vehicle sounds coming in.
It twisted even the most insignificant happening into a menacing ordeal with killer intentions. An innocent shadow transformed into an ominous specter. A mountain became indistinguishable from a molehill. It was fear, and it warped everything he saw.
I like that line.
The phone conversation with her mother had.
Okay, we're gonna get rid of that. And let me see if I can recenter this with my alt trick. Yes, it worked. It's much easier to add the time back with that. I'm looking for about 1 second. That's too short. Okay, perfect.
The phone conversation with her mother and the brief phone call with Rodan replayed themselves repeatedly in her mind.
Okay, control minus to zoom out so I can see the end of the next waveform. And I can see the interval is about 5 seconds. So I know I want about a second. So I'll just take it to about 4. And there we go.
The phone conversation with her mother.
Want this one gone. Can take that in a little bit.
The phone conversation with her mother and the brief phone call with Rodan replayed themselves repeatedly in her mind.
Oh God, again. It snuck up on me this time. I suspected that's what it was. Whenever I see a lone waveform like this, I'm like, oh no, it's coming. Here comes the sniffing. Oh, I apologize. Let's keep going. Maybe we should start counting them or something. I don't know. No, the whole goal is to avoid them, but they're going to come up because, yeah, they're just going to happen. So I apologize.
After each repetition,
And that's a weird stray waveform right there. Let's see what's going on with that one.
after each, after, after,
Oh, it's just a mouth sound. Okay, that's fine. That'll be taken care of in Ableton as well. Keyboard shortcuts are critical time savers. I mean, they just are. Like just adjusting the speed like that. I used to have to, grab my mouse and go up and man, they're such huge time savers. Got to learn them.
after each repetition, she found herself paralyzed by an inability to perform any meaningful action in relation to it.
In relation to oh no. Okay. After each okay, looks like I screwed up a couple of times on this line. Okay, here's this one. Let's get the trick to recenter. Space. Oh, there's that nasty sniff. It was about to come back. And that's one thing I really like about Descript is that it actually preserves. It doesn't like flat out delete your stuff. It just basically truncates it. It cuts it. So as you can see, our nasty sniff or bad line is still there. So if you move it too far, you're going to uncover what you already cut out. So you have to be careful to save yourself time. But yeah, that's too much anyway. But yeah, so it's helpful because it's very forgiving to mistakes. If you accidentally delete a whole section, of course you can control Z works, control and just automatically undo. That will work, but um, yeah, something's not completely gone if you delete it out. So keep that in mind.
Repeatedly in her mind. After each repetition,
Oh, let me increase my speed again. Oh, it was already increased. Guess my ears just getting in tune to it. I'm one of those guys that listens to certain YouTube videos and some podcasts on 2 times speed. So my ear just gets used to people just listening to people talk fast. Maybe that's not you, but I do it all the time. So my ear is kind of trained to it.
repeatedly in her mind. After each repetition, she found herself paralyzed by an inability to perform any meaningful action in relation to either.
Okay, that's good.
In the past, this would have been nothing new in regard to her mother.
It's clearly a screw up. Let's do this, recenter. Oh, I love that recentering trick. That was something that was annoying in the last chapter. Remember, that's Alt, open bracket, then Alt, close bracket. Move back, move forward 5 seconds in time, and then it recenters it to where it's easier to make this cut and add the time interval that I want. So that's a good trick to know.
In the past, this would have been nothing new in regard to her mother. But not after today. The introduction of Rodan, a member of introduction of Rodan, a member of the high-ranking brass of Sirius, had confirmed a credible and verified threat against her by the likes of Lemnick.
Okay, another cut here.
Lemnick.
Oh, what is that? That's horrible. I don't even know what it is. That's 3 nasty sounds. Okay, we're gonna get rid of it though. All right, so this one It's not a clean cut because I have that nasty sound in there, and I want this middle part of silence. So I'm gonna get rid of that sound, that undesirable, and then get rid of this. And then hopefully we end up with a good interval in between. Yeah, it's still even a little too much. Perfect. Pull it out, pull it in a little. Still a little much. Okay, that's perfect. Got it.
Nick, how many times did I warn her over the years? How many times? Now, her mother had sent her away, and had probably gone to meet with one of the various leaders of her former employer to prevent the hit squad from meeting its mark.
All right, now we're getting into the rhythm.
And had probably gone to meet with one of.
Uh-oh. And it probably gone. Okay. Sometimes the trick works, sometimes it doesn't. It's also how far you're zoomed in too, and that's confusing too, because I'm not keeping track of how far I'm zoomed. I can tell I'm zoomed in a little bit further because the waveforms are more distinct, but it's still it's still another cognitive thing load that adds to this already like meticulous process, as you can see. All right, let's go.
Now, her mother had sent her away, and had probably.
Bring that in.
Away, and had probably gone to meet. And had probably gone to meet with one of. Now.
Okay, let's get rid of that. Perfect. Oh, that's perfect. Okay.
Times. Now, her mother had sent her away, and had probably gone to meet with one of the various leaders of her former employer to prevent the hit squad from meeting its mark.
Okay, that was good.
Though she hated to admit it, she hoped Lily was all right. Did they come after me?
Okay.
Thoughts had entered her mind. Maybe. Although she had little affiliation with either organization, thanks to her own efforts over the years, the fact remained that she was the daughter of one of Limnick's greatest advocates turned greatest enemy.
Okay. Good.
Oh, God. How many times did I want you to get out of there? The inability to take any meaningful action, and her concern with possibly becoming a target herself, frayed her hypervigilant nerves. It prevented her from being able to sleep, which was what she desperately wanted. But surges of adrenaline spontaneously rushing through her veins kept her awake and alert.
Okay, good. Now we're getting it.
But surges of adrenaline spontaneously.
Oh, that would screw up. But surges of adrenaline. But surges of adrenaline. All right, let's see.
But surges of adrenaline spontaneously rushing through her veins kept her awake and alert. Her spinning mind was trapped in a lethargic body. Her spinning mind was trapped.
Oh, that was a screw up. Spinning mind. Oh, her spinning mind. her spinning mind. Man, Descript. Descript says the darndest thing sometimes. Her spinning mind. What is a spinning mind? I'm not sure what it is. Okay, let's go.
Her spinning mind was trapped in a lethargic body. Open device. Noe said.
Okay, I'll take care of that interval later. Dialogue tags. Usually, when I have dialogue tags, the interval is shortened just because it's kind of important that it comes right after, especially if it's like Noe said or somebody did something or whatever. So I try and cut those closer. And I said I wanted a second. Some of these are 3, but I'm making these cuts quickly so that I can go a lot quicker. And you can see I'm speeding up, right?
Tiny cameras embedded in the corners and the center of the room illuminate.
Oh god. Not again. Oh. Oh. I sound like I had COVID before there was even COVID. Wait, was there COVID during this time? There there was, I think. But still, I hadn't had COVID at the time, but I sound terrible when that happens. All right, here we go. Let's go. Now, clearly, that was a screw up. uh, okay.
Tiny cameras embedded.
Oh, what? I missed that tiny.
Noe said. Tiny.
All right, that's perfect.
Tiny cameras embedded in the corners and the.
Oh, here we go again. Tiny cameras. I don't know what it is about tiny cameras. I just could not say that. Okay, so I think I'm at about the time. I'm going to stop share. Oh man, that's funny. All right, so you can see. Oh, I left this Descript up here. This is turning into a Gong show. Oh man, I apologize. So that's gonna do it for this second video. I was gonna say third because technically it's the third for me. It's the second for you. Second video of the How to Edit an Audio Drama series. I hope you're enjoying it. I'm trying to make it fun. I'm sorry if you should just watch this on 2 times speed. I recommend you to do that. That way you can, because if I speed it up, then you won't hear my jokes. They're not really jokes. You won't hear my like observations and stuff. The next one I'll probably do as a live stream just to try it out. But don't worry about any of that. I hope you are learning something from my watching my process, and I hope you're having fun with it as much as I am. If you want to know more about my work, I'm Keith Hayden. KeithHayden.net is the place to go to find all of my stuff. And I hope you find something that you enjoy over there. I'll see you in part 3 of this video series. Take care.